Hey, secondhand soul fans.
We can't hear it, Dave.
Can't see it.
Or see it.
Hey, secondhand soul fans. It's me, your friendly neighborhood soul man, Lyle Dynamite Miller. And I'm here with
Kathy Fern.
And the sax man, Dave Drower.
Hey, and welcome everybody to episode number 10 of the Secondhand Soul Band Show. We're here at number 10. How about it? Who made it with us? Who made it for all 10 episodes? Give us a like or a comment down there. We're on Facebook and YouTube, so go ahead and give us a comment. If you have any questions, go ahead and put them in, and we'll get to you by the end of the episode. Let's talk about the lineup. Who wants to take the lineup today?
Let's see. We are going to be doing some venue news. We had a gig yesterday. It was awesome. Can we talk about that? Over underrated musical drama. Art Goes, which Lyle will explain again what that means. I got a new segment this week called Dave's Jazz Corner. And then we'll do some audience Q&A.
All right, that sounds like a hot show. That's an exciting show right there. I hope you guys stick around for it. And don't forget to put your comments in there in the comment section on Facebook and YouTube. And make sure you subscribe before the show's over also, especially on YouTube. We're trying to grow that audience. So why don't we go ahead and get started with some venue news? How about it?
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Woo! So you guys should be on screen with me for this one because we were all there yesterday, and I want to talk about how awesome that show was. Oh my God,
Yeah.
We were in Northbrook at a really cool venue. It was called the Velodrome. I didn't know what a velodrome was. It's actually a bicycle track. It's open to the public anytime, although they'll be undergoing some repairs between now and September 4th, I think. So that's just a little tip for you if you need to get out with all the COVID nonsense going on. But we did a show there in the grass, and they had a nice stage for us, and everybody was socially distanced. It was an amazing time, and it was as if the pack of wild animals was let loose. And I'm talking about the band. We just brought it, man. Release the hounds. Lyle did several splits, not just one or two, and he even did one by jumping off the stage, which granted it wasn't that high, but he jumped off the stage onto the grass into a split. Holy moly. I thought we were going to have to call the paramedics.
Yeah, me too for a minute after I got up. But
you were just filled.
But it was grass. I figured it was okay.
Man, yeah, you were just filled with that spirit, man. You just couldn't wait to just bring it all. So everybody was on 110% last night, and we're all a little bit sore today with our bodies being used to sitting around for the last few months. But the weather was perfect. We videoed it, so Dave's got some killer footage with the beautiful sunset behind us. The weather was just perfect, and it was so cool to see so many people we haven't seen in a really long time. So, right, you guys, it was a blast, wasn't it?
It was fantastic. Yeah. Everybody was all spread out. It was an enormous track field. With we got some video of it too, so we'll be sharing that with you in some upcoming episodes. But the performance was great. It was great to be on stage. It was a little rough. We've been off for a while. We exert a lot of energy on stage. And we're booked a lot usually, so we're used to being the physically demanding performances are like nothing when you do them in a row like that. But when you've been off for about 4 months, it was rough, and you think you're stretching enough. Like, I stretched this morning. I did a little warming up, but and it's good because you want to challenge yourself and need more energy than you have. That way you work to get more energy.
Absolutely.
Yeah, no, I loved it. I wasn't hurting as much as some of us. I was just like, it was go time in my opinion, and I've been waiting a long, long, long time to perform for some live people. I certainly did realize that just like our band, so many people are still worried about our COVID situation. Just because we're used to having hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people coming out, and this was kept really small, which is cool. But it's even if it's small, we're used to intimate. If it's less people, it's going to be a smaller area, and this was sort of like giant field. But the good thing for me is I never need an audience to. It was all about the music, and once we get these guys going, it's oh man, it's on.
Yeah, it was great. It was great.
Fantastic.
Yeah, so tomorrow night we got another gig, 2 in a week. Woohoo! It's gonna be
All right.
St. Charles Park District, and this is a drive-in concert. $5, and you get a parking space for your car, and then a parking space for you. You do have to register online. We talked about that before, and I think they might be sold out at this time. However, there is a parking lot that's really close by that apparently you'll still be able to hear us. So, you want to come out? Come on out. Bring your coolers and your chairs, and stay 6 feet apart from everybody else, and come and bring your dancing shoes. And we're going to be there 7 o'clock until 8:30. And that is happening at the Otter Cove Aquatic Park. And we'll be at the parking lot at the north end. So you do have to wear a mask to get in. And once you get in your spot, I think you can take it off. But go to the internet and see St. Charles Park District or our Facebook page where all the details are there. So that's tomorrow. So just make sure you're watching our website. We keep it updated. We had a couple people ask us yesterday. They said, well, we didn't know about the show except you put it on your website. Well, that's where we put it. So make sure you are checking the website. If there's any new gigs coming up, that's where they'll be. And of course, we'll send out some emails and remind everyone and put up some Facebook events. But if you're not already signed up for emails or Facebook, please go ahead and do that. You can email me, Kathy at secondhandsoulband.com, and I'll sign you up for all of it. Or you can just go ahead and do it yourself. But make sure you get connected so we can stay connected with you.
All right. Yep. And that's tomorrow night. Tomorrow night. This is the last hit that we have booked in the near future. So
So if you're gonna be coming out, tomorrow's the day to do it. Don't say we didn't say anything. In a month or two when the snow's coming down. Well, maybe that'll be 3 or 4 months, but. Yeah, once you're dying to hear us, you're going to be wishing that you were there this coming Thursday tomorrow. So,
yeah.
All right. Are we ready?
Yeah.
All right. So it's time for everyone's favorite segment, aka. All right.
All right. It's time for Over Underrated.
Bam!
That's right. Time for Over Underrated, our favorite segment. This is the segment where we grab an artist and we evaluate their career and talk about whether or not they've been overrated or underrated, or if they're getting just the right amount of praise.
That's right.
So this week we're going to talk about what artist we're talking about this week.
Well, before we bring in the artist, I think it would be interesting to say how we got back to our roots to come up with this artist, because we had, what was it, 2 or 3 that were already on our list that we were going to be doing today, and somehow Lyle and I scratched it all because at the end of yesterday's gig, we said, you know what, forget that. We need to pick an artist that's going to fill the void that we actually needed to fill, and not just some random artist. So I'm not going to necessarily say the ones that we either put in the trash or sideline, but our artist today is Usher.
Usher.
Yep, Usher.
All right.
Goes as Usher. What was his last name?
I call him Usher. I call him Usher Raymond.
There you go.
Because I'm 44. Usher's 41 or 42, I think, and I've been following him since he was 13. So he's Usher Raymond to me. There he is, Usher Raymond.
Yeah, I don't think he's in his 40 in that
range,
in that shot right there, man.
He might be money. That's money right there. He might be older than me in that picture. Yep, that's Usher Raymond. So what's the word on Usher?
All right, so I think he is he's not underrated. He's either getting the acclaim that he deserves, or he is maybe a little underrated. I went and stopped by my mom's house last week because I had to pick up some of my tools and steal some of my dad's tools. Thank you, Dad. And it was almost hard to do because my mom unloads on me on Michael Jackson, man. And she said, "How dare you,
That's
Dave?"
right. Thanks, Mom.
Oh man, it was never ending. Even I was like, I got to go to work. I got private lessons to teach and all this other stuff. And she's texting me on the way home, with like her whole thing about how I was wrong. And even now, I disagree. So where did Usher get? Hey.
Wait, for me, well,
I've been disagreeing with my mom forever, so it's a sign of love.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And she's right. She's right about Michael Jackson. Usher's a little underrated to me. Usher is obviously enormously successful, and he sold over 100 million records worldwide. He's got a 25-year career as a professional singer. Professional entertainer. He's got a lot of stuff. Owns a piece of the Cleveland Cavaliers. They let LeBron go. That's interesting. But I think he's underrated. Overrated. I think that there's a lot there. He's a manufactured artist. He was raised in the music business. It's great for him. And it could be a generational thing, because I'm sure there's some old fart out there that would tell me, Michael Jackson's okay, but you should have seen Jackie Wilson. Well, that's where I am. Usher Raymond is Michael Jackson in slow motion with one less octave on his voice. That's all I see. I acknowledge his success, but I think he's overrated. It's just the range.
Well, see, and I see it like this. What he did take from Michael Jackson is that he performs and his dancing is almost as good as his singing. And he's kept things. I was in high school and he was popular, and now he's still popular, and he's still coming out with stuff. Like, his singing it's on point.
Right, there it is. It's generational.
I remember when if you're gonna say Michael Jackson is underrated, you can't say Usher is overrated, and then on the same show say that it's a generational thing.
But they're not even in the same ballpark.
That's not what this segment is about, Lyle. That's not what this segment is about. It's not about who's better and who's worse. It's about
That's exactly what it's about. If somebody's underrated, then they're not getting as much praise as they should get. So then they're better than what they're being acknowledged as being. So it's literally about who's better than who else. And Usher,
so he sold too many albums for
you. He's not as good as Michael Jackson.
I never said he was.
Sold too many albums.
And
I was just saying that he's getting godlike. Stevie Wonder, like
he's not like the stepchild of pop, So he's getting the accolade.
He's way up there. No, I think he's overrated. Sorry, that's my opinion. He's a decent singer, but there are better singers. Tevin Campbell. Campbell's on the same track as him. He gets a couple more breaks. He's Usher Raymond. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, as a vocalist, I'm biased.
Again, now we're back to the vocalist thing. But when we were talking about Michael Jackson, then it was okay for it to be more about not just the vocal, but the performance. And then now we're talking about Usher.
The performance is fine. The performance is fine with Usher, but there's better performers. See, what happened is Usher outlasted everybody. Usher just stayed there, and he had the good stuff, and he knew what the goods were. And everybody used to know what the goods were, but he just stayed around. And the other people who knew what the goods were, they stopped working. Bobby Brown would crush Usher Raymond. Bobby Brown was a superior artist to Usher Raymond. And Usher Raymond would tell you that too. But Bobby Brown, you've seen him lately. You've seen him lately. And there's 50 other Bobby Browns out there with stories like that. And the reason why Usher's so popular and so enormous is because he outlasted everybody else.
I think it's more to do with the dancing, honestly. I really think that the dancing and the breakdancing at the beginning of his career really sort of separated him apart. Where he could literally he could just have a song just on Vamp and do those little pops, and it was captivating.
Go look at the Bobby Brown concert.
Just like Michael Jackson, doing the moonwalk, just like James Brown doing the crazy feet work. So again, like you could tell that that he's come up with stuff from some of the greats, and he deserves what he
But-
gets.
Yeah, okay. Yep, I'll say he's right there, then, but
Again.
he's overrated in my
We
book.
were here talking about Stevie Wonder, and you were trying to tell me he was overrated. Oh man, come on. All right,
Hey,
all
man,
right,
I hear. Yeah, and he's still more underrated than Usher, though.
all right. There
But
you
let's
go.
move on. So
Let's move
there
on.
it is. I said you heard it here first. Usher, overrated.
You heard it here first. Lyle needs to have the last word, apparently. Bam!
All right, moving on from one drama to the next. This is our next segment called Musical Drama. And this is when we kind of go back and review some of the dramatic incidents that you may or may not have heard about, but for some of the celebrities that you probably do know. So this one is about Lionel Richie. I was surprised to hear about this. And I did a little research, and considering what happened to Lyle, I keep saying Lyle, Lionel. Considering what happened to Lionel, if he had done this to his wife, he would still be in jail. So there is definitely a double standard here. But he was married to Brenda Harvey back in the 80s, and actually in 1975 they got married. And everybody thought that was, great relationship. They're going to last forever. They adopted their first child, Nicole. We all know who Nicole Richie is. And they got her when she was 3 years old. And so they were really happy about it. But then Lionel in 1986, he began to have an affair with Diane Alexander. She was a dancer. And they met at the 1984 Olympics, where Lionel had performed all night long at the closing ceremonies. It was seen by his performance was seen by 2.6 billion people in 120 countries. So just a little side fact there. And she was also in his video for Dancing on the Ceiling in 1986. So they were pretty hot and heavy for years. And according to the neighbors, he snuck out to see her all the time. One neighbor said that he parks in the back and walks right by my window all the time. So they didn't seem to keep it all that secret. And eventually Brenda found out about it, or just had enough. And in 88, Lionel filed for divorce from her. The joke is that she was not who he was looking for. Haha. But for a while before they actually filed for divorce, they were living apart. And but then I guess she was not happy with that whole situation, and she showed up at Diane's apartment at 2 a.m. one night to find Lionel there. Neighbors ended up calling the police. They heard a woman screaming, and the police walked in on an assault in progress. And it's not what you think. Brenda was assaulting Lionel, and the police officer said that they arrived in less than a minute from the initial call, but they found Brenda kicking and striking Lionel, who was on the floor. And then later, Lionel said that he'd been kicked in the stomach area. And a neighbor said they were screaming. You could hear everything. It was obvious that his wife had just found him. She was really mad. Glass was broken. Furniture crashed around inside. It sounded like she was killing someone. So Brenda's friend had described her as very soft-spoken, and she's the most adorable, caring, pretty, bright person. I can't believe she did this. But I guess they had to push her down on her chest on the ground to get cuffs on her. And she kept screaming for Diane to help her, of all people. She kept saying, "Diane, don't let them do this to me. Please, Diane." So she got booked on suspicion of corporal injury to a spouse, resisting arrest, trespassing, vandalism, battery, and disturbing the peace, and was released on $5,000 bail. So clearly Lionel did not have, another joke, endless love for Brenda. They finally divorced in 93, and he went on to marry Diane in 95, and they had 2 more kids together, Miles and Sophia, but then that marriage ended 8 years later. So Lionel's gone on record saying that his ex-wives have ruined the marriage for him. It had nothing to do with the cheating, I guess, and that he has no intention of ever getting married again.
Good choice.
And they quote him saying, "I have no idea to go there a third time. Women have killed it for me. Kids aren't the problem. Ex-wives are. That's why I won't marry again, but I'm happy to commit in other ways." I think he's got it a little backwards. So yeah, I got this information from throwbacks.com if you want to go and read about it, or there's a bunch more fun stories there too. So that's our
Man,
drama.
that's wild. Yeah, yeah, I heard about the story. It's always been fascinating to me because I heard the rumor that his wife was a black belt in karate, and I was like, what the heck? Why would you fool around? Your wife is a black belt in karate, and she could anytime she could come in there, and nobody's ever been kicked in the stomach area after they've
Yeah.
been caught cheating.
All right.
So we know what
That's not where we would aim.
Yeah, unless he had like a gut and it was hanging kind of low, he didn't get kicked in the stomach. But anyway,
Well, the reason they said she was a black belt was because he was embarrassed and he had to have an excuse for why she was able to kick his ass.
Yep. And
Yeah.
I don't
Well-
know if the viewers know this, Lyle, but we had a tornado blow through our neighborhood just a few days ago, which was pretty crazy. So everyone might have noticed that you just went fuzzy. I know my power and internet have been going a little bananas lately, so we apologize.
Yeah.
We apologize. We're gonna try to do our next segment. If you get cut off, we'll skip over to mine. So next up we have Arcos.
I love that picture. Love that
Arcos.
picture.
Yes. Every time I look at that picture, my back hurts. All right, it's time for Art Goes, everybody. Art Goes. This is the Art Goes segment. Always ready to get on stage. And this segment is to make you Art Goes, and that is to make you always ready to get on stage. Today, I want to talk about hostile audiences. We call them hostile. We call them tough crowds, etc. But there's no such thing as a tough crowd. Let me explain. I've been singing for about 25 or so years professionally since I was a teenager. And I've been training my entire life as well. And all of my mentors were tough people. They always made you feel like you had no talent. You didn't know anything. You think you can sing? Oh, well, my kid over there can sing better than you, etc. And the thing is, they're right. But when you hear that kind of stuff, it really hurts your feelings. So you can either internalize that and sink away, or you can listen to them and figure out what it is that's wrong with your performance to make it better. Because there's no such thing as a bad audience. After 5 minutes, no matter how dead, no matter how quiet an audience is, if they're still quiet, you're bad. Not them. It's you. I used to sing in the subway when I was a teenager. I sang with a group down there. You really want to try your chops out? I went down there. And nobody wants to ignore you more than somebody who's coming home from work after they've been busting their butt all day. But we would still turn people around. We'd still make them smile. We'd still get tips from them. It didn't start out that way, but we had to keep on working until we nailed down how to make that perfect performance where anybody would like it. And I hear a lot of times people will invite their friends out and their friends tell them how good they are. First of all, when you invite your friends out, how often do they show up? Do they show up all the time? All those people who tell you how good you are? Do you see them at your shows? Are they busting the door down? Or do you have to call them and remind them and they ask you where to get tickets from? That's not who you want at your shows. Forget those people. The people you want are people who don't know you or like you. You want people that when you show up, they're like, who the heck is this guy? And then you start singing and they love you on the way out the door. That's when you're a good performer. That's when you eliminate bad audiences, because once again, bad audiences don't exist. Only bad performers.
Woo.
So don't be a bad performer. Find your weaknesses before they do and straighten them out. And
Tell
that
'em,
is
Lyle.
your Art Goes segment of the day.
Tell him.
Hey, I'm gonna be bringing up all these little points that you have in our next over underrated. You realize this because you're just giving me plenty of
Giving
material.
him ammo,
You're
yeah.
giving me plenty of material to pop. All
Yeah.
right.
That's
So-
right. Always tell me. Anybody out there right now, if you see me at a show, put in the comments where I stunk and I'll clean it up for you.
I dare you. They won't find one. They won't find one.
All right. Let's move on to our new segment.
All right.
Yeah. I love that
Dave's-
graphic.
Dave's
That's
Jazz
cool.
Corner.
All right. So I want to talk about some old school jazz artists, and I think jazz did a lot for not only America but for music in general. We wouldn't have rock music if it wasn't for jazz. We wouldn't have rap if it wasn't for jazz. So jazz is a very, very wide form of music, but the artist really changed the 20th century of music. So I think it's important that we talk about, to start, Miles Davis, because Miles Davis was a visionary, and just bringing a little bit up of what Lyle was just talking about audiences. Miles Davis had a very interesting relationship with audiences. He hated them. He didn't care about them at all. The second half of his career, he didn't even look at them. He would just be facing the drummer or the bass player and almost disrespecting the audience. And he sort of had a roity-toity, mindset for why. I think it was all just sort of part of his showboating, maybe, if you will. But again, that's not really just about music, but it did change how people act and thinking of the audience as something that you could actually deliberately change how you present yourself to them. But from a musical perspective, Miles Davis was an artist, and I talk about this all the time. I love that So What, That Kind of Blue. It's the #1 jazz selling album of all time for good reason. Not because the people on it were amazing, because they were, and they were amazing because they made mistakes and didn't really play very well, especially Miles Davis. The trumpet players would tell you how many notes he cracked in So What on the So What solo, and the first chorus of the solo, he only used 2 notes, but you didn't need any more. Painters don't need to use a million colors. They could use 2 colors, and they could change the world with those 2 colors. So, Miles Davis was all about that color. That's what music is. So, music, it's color and it's humanity, and humans are not very perfect people. We are not perfect people. Come on, look at the divorce rate in America. Look at the COVID crisis. Look at just somebody walking across the street. People mess stuff up all over the place. And why is that a good thing? Well, because we're not machines. And art comes out of not being a machine. I've never seen a computer that could create art. And they try to use artificial intelligence for computers to create art, and they can't, because computers can't understand that cosmos that we always talk about here, about being able to take you to that world. And Miles Davis, he might have not looked at his audience, because he said, no, this is our world. You're going to come over to this world. You're going to go into this art world. So it was more than just a trumpet player. He was really a visionary, and he really shaped how music is now. And I wish that him and Jimi Hendrix came out with an album, but it would have been something that I really think would have shaped the next level of music. And if you listen to his albums, you see a history. And that's one thing he does have in common with Michael Jackson. Michael Jackson went every album, it's a different journey.
That's right.
So
that's true creativity then, when you can keep creating new and new and new.
And the cats he worked with, Herbie Hancock, Chick Corea, all the way back to, even the old guys, all the way up through the 80s. I mean, he was still working with new upcoming cats.
Oh, yeah.
Dave, will you put that picture back up again for a second? I thought this was funny when we looked at this. The old and the young. Like, look how friendly and nice he looks on the left, and then he looks really mad on the right. Lyle, why did you say right that was?
That's decades of playing in the Jim Crow South. It turns you from that picture on the left to that picture on the right.
He ate a lemon. He's mad.
Yep.
Yeah, it's just that attitude, man. It's that attitude, and I think it feeds into itself. Not just musicians, but celebrities that sort of get bigger and bigger. Some of them, they buy gold toilets, and then all of a sudden are bankrupt on the corner of the street.
Yeah, right.
So
strange business we're in.
Yeah, it comes with attitude. Everybody has it, But some of those jazz guys. Now, what are they doing? They're producing music. The ones that are still alive, many of the jazz guys died pretty early, but it doesn't change what they did for music or art in general. Right.
Yeah, Miles Davis, man, if you check that book out, he has a autobiography.
Yeah.
And in it, he talks about how
on the
you could get killed You could get killed if you played bad at a club back then.
Wow.
You know, they throw you out of there
Yeah.
with a quick. You know, it's one thing to get booed, but you get your ass kicked and you lose your reputation and you wouldn't be able to play anywhere. So if you came in there, you had to come correct.
Oh yeah,
And he talked about that a lot.
And they would latch on to, you know, older artists. So
Yep.
I know Miles, him and Charlie Parker, you know, that's where
Yeah.
they learned bebop. And then later on, he was mentoring John Coltrane, and then
Right.
John Coltrane. So it was this, and mentoring was a very loose term. Just like Lyle was saying, how the old school guys were like mean. I remember taking lessons from these guys where it was like, quit the sax, you're horrible, or,
Yeah.
you know, and it's just there's something about like the tradition of it where it's very set to tough love, and if you don't
It
have
is.
that drive to be like, no, I'll prove you wrong, you don't know what you're talking
right.
about, and then
That's right.
and then eventually the older you get, the more you realize that it's like them weeding you out. Of course, they're gonna say that to
That's
everybody,
right.
and
That's right.
and the people that are even more hungry from that, they're the ones that are gonna make it, and the other ones,
right.
hey, it's just another American Idol auditioner that just you know is taking the bus
That's what
home.
separates the men from the boys.
Bam! All right, I think it's time
All
for
right.
some questions. So if you are on Facebook, YouTube, not my Facebook page though, because I'm not actually looking at that one. So if you're on mine, go on the Secondhand Soul one or our YouTube page and pop in a question or comment. I am happy to see all the people popping on and watching today.
Nice.
Yeah.
Who we
yeah.
got? Who's watching?
Oh man.
Is Usher out there?
Next week. He'll be on next week to stand up for himself. Well, we got some people on Facebook too. We'll say hi to Alex, our keyboard player is on. Hey, Alex.
Hey, Alex.
It was
Great
fun
job
playing
yesterday,
with
man.
you. Yeah, last night was awesome. Brian is on. Brian Wilkins. Hey, Brian. Said he learned
Hey,
something
Brian.
tonight.
What's up?
And checked in about Usher. Said the dancing is what made him. And
See, bam. That's
yeah.
my boy. That's my
right.
boy.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Says a lot.
Yeah, Dave, you're gonna have to teach me some stuff about jazz because I've always said I hated it, and so maybe I have to change my words. And you're gonna have to give me some jazz appreciation classes. Maybe I'll have to ride together to the gig.
Yeah.
Play some stuff for me on the way.
Hey, you listen to Ella for a few hours and you're gonna be set, because that girl can sing.
All right, I got my homework. I'll do it.
Oh yeah,
Done.
for sure.
Done. Speaking of homework, school's getting back going here. Back to remote learning, everyone. I hope everyone's excited about that.
Oh my God.
All right.
And that's the end of that comment, because that could be its own segment. But
That could be right. We could all chime in on that one. Oh my God.
oh yeah. I know, Kathy. You got two a high school.
I got
and you got one going to
high school
college.
senior and a freshman in college, and they both are going to be remote. Like I don't even know how they're going to look back on this, and hopefully they'll have learned something along the way, how to Zoom, get a degree in how to Zoom.
Yeah,
But what are we going to do? You got to keep going.
that's
Can't
right.
stop, so.
Keep on pushing. It's Curtis Mayfield. All right.
Exactly.
All right. Are we over and out, my
All right.
friends?
I think so.
Over and out. Episode 10. We'll see you guys next week for episode 11. How about it?
And we'll see you tomorrow in St. Charles. Don't forget.
See you tomorrow. Last show.
Later.
Hey, secondhand soul fans.